Hey everybody, welcome back to my marvelous miniverse. So I haven't been doing a lot of crafting lately because we've been playing online because of the virus, but I did get to thinking about this texture roller that I made a little while back and how I can improve upon it. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to put something on there or to use it to where it can make the grid lines. It takes quite a bit of time to do the grids out on these big sheets that I like to do, the big 24-inch by 1-inch sheets. It can take quite a bit of time, so I figured if I had a roller, I could roll it out. And so this is what I came up with, and I went way overboard on it. It cost me a lot of money, but it was something I really wanted to do. So anyway, I'm going to show you how it works. And it's not perfect. It doesn't do a great job. But I'll show you how it works, then I'll show you how the foam looks afterwards and where it succeeds, where it fails, and then I'll show you how I built it, and then I'm going to talk about my plans to improve upon this again to make it where it works better. I think I've kind of gone past crafting and into like industrial production, but anyway, I made the machine, so I figured I'd go ahead and show you guys. So let's get on in and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so I haven't made a stand or anything for it yet, so I've just been putting it in between a couple of dining room chairs. And so I made it just big enough for one of these big 24-inch sheets. And it gets kind of loud, but I'll just slide it down in there. And it only does the lines in one direction, so I'm going to slide it again for the other direction. And the animals don't like it very much, but it's okay. Alright, so now we have a grid, and I'll give you a little close-up on it and show you where this fails. Alright, so here's kind of the finished, well, not really finished, but here's what it left behind. As you can see on the edges, it works pretty well. It's almost exactly what I wanted. I could move those bars a little closer, but toward the middle here, it kind of fades out because those bars are bending. They're not holding it steady so much. But it does leave a grid here that's an inch apart, you know, a 1-inch grid. So I could come back through here real easily and just fill those lines in, or open them up really to make the little cracks in between. So it's already on there. So that already saves me a whole bunch of time just doing that. But it doesn't, like I said, it's not as good as I had hoped or as I thought it would be. So that means it needs more improvement. Alright, I didn't get any actual footage of the build because I built it out in the shop and I do not want to take my camera out there. But as you can see, I made two rollers. This one's one solid piece, and then these are each one's individual, and they're a little bit shorter than an inch, and then these little cutters to make the grid lines, these little cutters are washers that I sharpened up. So let me take it apart a little bit and show you. I just used all thread in between there, and I made sure to use some grease, and I just bolted it in. So it's like the bottom one that's just a roller. You know, it's just a piece of all thread with a piece of tubing over it. And some grease in there. That's all it is, just through this little frame that I made out of slotted angle iron. And then these little texture pieces, which I think I need to make them a little bit bigger around. Those little texture pieces, all they are is they're the same tubing that I cut down and ground down to 7/8 of an inch, I think, just small enough so that I would have room for the washers. and they're just loose on there. You see they can come right off, so they're just little little slices. And then I did the same technique for the with the sand that I did on my texture roller. And then the grid makers are just washers that I sharpened up on my belt grinder. So that's really all it is. I mean, it's pretty simple. It took me a little while to make it and get it put together, but it's a pretty simple concept. So let me put it back together and I'll talk about improvements. Okay, so in conclusion, this thing works fairly well. I mean, I'm happy with the grid pattern that we have here. Even though I have to come back through, it still saves me a lot of time. But in order to improve it how I want it, I think the main problem is that the all thread that I used in the middle flexes. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but it flexes, and the top piece flexes a lot more than the bottom piece. Mainly because the tube on the bottom is solid, so it keeps it from flexing. So all the little individual pieces on the top allow it to flex. So I think for improvements, I think first of all, if it was shorter, it would work better. And I am going to make another one of these for 1/2" foam, because I use 1/2" for all my dungeon tiles and stuff. So I'll make another one, and I think I'll make it shorter. I think I'll just make it 12 inches. I also think I will leave less space so that it has to clamp down harder. And I know something that will improve it is to use a different steel instead of this all thread, which is just kind of cheap steel. If I use like a tool steel and heat treat it, then it won't have nearly as much flex in it at all. It'll stay more solid. So shorter length, better steel, figure out less play in here maybe, or just crunch it together even shorter. And then once I get that perfected, then I'm going to see if I can make these little sections, if I can print those, if I can 3D print those without them crushing. I mean, there's quite a bit of pressure in there, so they might just crack because they're pretty brittle. But if I can do that, then I'm on my way. So work in progress. Terrain texture machine. I'll get it there. Eventually I'll get there to where I can just take tiles and run them through a couple of times and then start painting. Again, I think that's probably more industrial production than it is crafting. And I swear my dog gets thirsty every time I start filming. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have any other improvements that you can think of, any other ways that I can improve on the next one I make, let me know down in the comments, man. I will definitely take them into consideration. Like I said, it's a work in progress until I get it figured out. And if you want to see more stuff kind of like this, more of my crafting stuff, go ahead and subscribe. And check out the Tabletop Dungeoneers channel. They've got a bunch of videos. A bunch of those guys do a bunch of videos on with crafting and minis and mini painting and box opening. And it's not just D&D stuff. They do a lot of there's Warhammer and man, they're into all kinds of stuff, including Gundams. So go ahead and check out that Discord server and check out the channel Tabletop Dungeoneers. You can catch everybody's videos over there in the playlists. And again, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.